There are some dark pages in the history of the white man's dealings with the Indians, and many parts of the record are stained with the greed and avarice of those who have thought only of their own profit. There are some dark pages in the history of the white man's dealings with the Indians, and many parts of the record are stained with the greed and avarice of those who have thought only of their own profit.
Wake up!
Yo, GM, hello, BM everyone, welcome to this stream. Hello Dan, hello Anya.
Hello.
I hope now you can hear me. Last time I got rugged, my mic didn't turn on. So we have another stream today, our second live reveal stream. And as I saw, the metadata is already changed. So let's check our Mibera. But first of all, Anya, Dan, how are you doing? How are you?
Barely legal.
Okay, that says all. Dan, you're muted. Maybe he's not here yet.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, now it's fine, yeah.
All right, sorry about that. No, things are pretty good, man. Hello to you. Hello to Anya. I just took a look at my fresh updated Mibera, and oh man, I'm liking things. It kind of, I can't tell if that's a different hairstyle or I got a hat that's gonna happen. I got some methamphetamine going. So, you know, yeah, we got quite a bit of updates to review here, dude. So it's going to be a fun times.
So we have 3 changes. The first, so this is mine, by the way. We have the shadow has changed. So basically last week we had the shadow, which was for everyone the same. Now we have little hints at the maybe traits, or I don't know, the head or the caps, but we have now different shadows, different shapes, and the background isn't blurred anymore, so you can see it sharply. And the third one is we have here an I'm not an expert in this, but maybe some chemistry.
It's the festival which was rigged. They sold a lot of tickets for a lot of money, and they basically didn't, like, they rigged everyone. They stole the money, And the people who were right at the festival, they didn't have water or anything. They were living in the middle of the desert on this island. Fire Festival, it's called. There's a documentary on Netflix.
Okay. How does the documentary called?
Fire Festival, I think.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So I heard about that. That they planned a second one, but it got cancelled twice. So, hey, Eileen is joining us.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Have you already seen the new updated, revealed Mibera?
Yeah. And some of them are really, really tall. Like the accessories
are already showing. So let's check some out. They're already... Here's one for 200. So people are already sniping. This is crazy. What do they know? Yeah. Sensei is here with us. He says, I have too much to check. Yeah. This dude is crazy. He's just collecting every day like 5 NFTs, all the steady teddies and all the Miberas. He's picking them all up. It's crazy. So hopefully later Jenny will join us. I have a lot of questions. We were discussing also this liquid backing stuff. We have some things to clarify on that. And there should be this archetype test, as far as I know. So I have a lot of questions to that too. What do you guys think? What do you guys know about this archetype test? Are you excited about? Are you scared? I'm a bit scared, I have to be honest. I don't know, maybe some nasty things will come out, but I have nothing to hide, so I don't need to be scared. What do you think?
I think we're innocent children of janitor universe.
I think there are a lot of nasty guys out there who, yeah, maybe they will be revealed and see what they did. As far as I know, they checked the data between the fake reveal and the reveal, and they looked what you've done on chain. So yeah, I don't really know if they will the team, Jenny and the team, will reward, or what these archetypes mean exactly. As far as I understood, there's no benefits to that. There's no denial or something like that. It's just a definition. So what your archetype is. And yeah, but maybe Jenny will touch on that later. So yeah, I'm excited. And I think the liquid backing stuff will go live on Thursday. And on Thursday, we will have our next show. This will be every Tuesday and Thursday from now on. And the last show will be on May 20th. And then we will have revealed our last. This will be the last reveal, and then we will have a permanent one. And only at the 8th reveal stage you will know if you have a 1 of 1. So there will be a lot of excitement until then. But as I see this, the floor is rising. It's now 124 barras, and I'm watching if someone sniping the trades, but the highest sale so far has been this one for 200 barra. Yeah. Oh, here's one for 240. Okay.
I actually have a trade which is item question for 421 bearer.
Oh,
It's kind of
okay.
crazy to me. 420. How do people know? I think they don't know at all. Like it's all speculation.
Yeah. Maybe some dudes know something. We don't know. So a lot of folks here. Thank you for coming. Let me guys know. Let me know what do you think of this new reveal stage. What have you got? And yeah, tag us on Twitter. Show us your revealed Mibera. You can comment on Twitter, and you can show us your revealed ones. So, and we have the master of disaster, Jenny Thor. Hello, Jenny.
Hello. How's it sound? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Nice.
No delays. Perfect. So, thank you for another reveal. Thank you for coming.
Welcome.
We
Thanks,
have a lot of
Saguchi,
questions.
Thanks, Circa. Thanks, team. Gumi. Smooth.
You did a great job and perfectly on time, like a Swiss clock. I have a few questions. I have so mainly 3 topics where I want to touch on. The first one is maybe, I don't know, you can maybe choose which one you want to start with. The first one is the reveal. So what has changed? What are the traits which have been revealed now? The second one is this archetype test, and the third one is the liquid backing thing. So maybe you start with something.
What should we do? We're rugging you on the test. It's built, but we want to test it a bit more just as thousands of people pile into stuff we release. So I just want to test it a few more times. So that's the chef rug that we'll be releasing that on Thursday. But I'm happy to talk about the questions and the on-chain stuff so we can start unpacking it. So with that disappointing news out of the way, I'm happy to jump into whichever of the questions you want to jump into first.
Okay, so maybe we touch on this liquid backing thing. We had some posts about we can see it here now that the liquid backing per Mibera is climbing upwards, and I was a bit surprised that a lot of folks didn't know how this exactly works. And yeah, maybe you can explain it again and what you are expecting from it.
Sure. So if you go to honeyroads.xyz, there's a button up at the top that says backing. So if you click backing, you will see a graph, and it says backing per NFT, has real floor, and then it's got recent activity. And this line that you see is essentially funds that have gone into the Treasury smart contract, and each NFT has a pro rata share of the funds in the total backing. So from what Jenny can see at the moment, it's 16,260.541. You can see how it's risen over time. This first step, so the step on April 21, that was that first batch of royalties. And then these gentle curve up, the small steps up through April 2022 until April 28th is some of the income from the Honey Road site itself. So that would be people minting shadows, parcels, candies, miladies. And then we've got this big jump up from around 0.9 up to up around 1.5. that was us putting the tributary funds from Steady Teddies into the backing, and then we see a gradual up. I'll stop there and see if there's any questions about any of that.
So you didn't mention the royalties from the NFT sales. These are not included yet, or?
So the royalties are set at this first step function over on April 21st, the jump. So that was the initial batch of royalties. Royalties do stream in. We kind of pull on the splitter contract. So we've launched the splits contract over on Berachain because they provide kind of some light infrastructure for teams to launch on chains if the main team haven't launched yet. To put very simply, the splits contract is a way of receiving funds to an address and then splitting the payments out to other addresses, but you do still need to run a cron job or like a regular activation on one of the functions there. And so in the instance of royalties, 4.20% of all trades, so all purchases, is enforced on chain through the 721A standard built by Limit Break, used by Steady Teddies, on-chain heroes over on Abstract kind of kicked off this recent meta. And so from that 4.20%, 69% goes towards liquid backing, 1% goes to Russell Bricks, 30% goes to THJ. And so we need to actually update the activity stream because the activity stream isn't currently registering pulls from the split contract towards the liquid backing. Does that answer the question?
Yes. So these will flow in later, I assume.
They've been flowing in. It's just that we haven't.
It's not visible here.
It's not on the activity stream. So, for example, that big jump from 0 to 0.349, that was all royalties.
Okay.
On April 21st.
So, and then we had a jump here. So
on April 28th.
Yeah.
That's the Steady Teddy tributary mint funds. So measured in Bera, remember. So the price of Bera, the number of Bera hasn't changed, but the kind of US denomination of it has, or the exchange rate.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a bit confused because I have also the AppDAO liquid backing in my mind, and I change a lot, so I can't distinguish with which one was what. So as I recall, here the Steady Teddies will have so that this. Here, the Steady Teddies mint price, the 10% were flowing in. But on the ApeDAO treasury, there will be the 10% from the NFTs. So 888 NFTs were sent to the Apology DAO treasury. Okay, so that was another thing. Because my second question was if this is only Bera, so it can't fluctuate in Bera terms, but of course in USD terms. So if you take out a loan in Bera, you don't have really risk of impermanent loss. So let's say, but later, will there be other coins or other stuff flowing in which aren't in Bera, or is that only in Apology DAO?
In V1 of the liquid backing contracts by the Liquid Mint team, formerly known as Bearer Market, these are the V1 versions of the contracts which we've gone with. We've tested them thoroughly. V2 does allow for, so far as I understand it, I'm a hot dog. I need to drill into this more. Multi-currency, and it's set up more as a vault, so you can then make the underlying productive in DeFi. So that would be the next wave of things. To take a step back, the mission of everything THJ does is to make Pol simple. So simple Pol, or SIMPOL. And so it's our intention to make it easy for people engaging in Mibera to also engage in DeFi on Bearer Chain without having to leave this interface here. And so right now, this is pretty rudimentary. Once it's turned on, people can take out the 1.565 bearer per the NFT, and that will keep growing incrementally. I think we're going to start to see the compounding power of micropayments in an economy flowing through a treasury that people have access to. This number can only go up over time. It's up only, and I'm not saying that in a Ponzi type of way. It's that when you take a loan against your Mibera, it's deposited into the treasury, and if you don't repay it at the term date, which is about 4.2 months, the treasury then owns and will sell your Mibera for the liquid backing amount. So in this instance, it would sell a Mibera for, let's say, 1.62 bearer plus a premium, whatever that premium is. And that sale and the premium would go directly into the liquid backing. And so whether people default or whether people hold, this number in bearer terms, we're not making any claims as to what that bearer will be valued in US dollar terms or fiat terms. But in terms of the liquid backing of the circulating supply, the number is up only in bearer terms. So for example, when someone defaults, that Mibera goes out of circulating supply. So it's not it itself can't access any more liquid backing. However, once it's sold again, its liquid backing plus a premium is replenished. And so that's why we can say this number is up only in terms of bearer and in terms of the circulating supply. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get it, and I'm fascinated because when I started on Chain, I heard rumors that there will be unliquidable loans, and I couldn't imagine how is that working, and now it makes a lot of sense. So those who didn't understand, basically what you see here is the up only, which Jenny told about. So with the royalties, with the revenue from Honey Road, it will flow money in. So it's not based on price, but it's based on revenue, and it's a treasury. And you see here the total amount of Bera in this treasury, and here you see what you can take out a loan with one of your Mibera. So there are 10,000 Miberas, and if you divide that by 10,000, you will get this one. So you could possibly take out a loan from 1.62 Bera, and you have to pay that back in 4.2 months. If you don't pay back, you will lose your Mibera. This Mibera will be sold on the secondary market and put it back in the treasury. So yeah, it's really, I tweeted out it's an up only tech because it's based on revenue and not on on price, which can fluctuate and which can liquidate you.
So yes, exactly. It's an Oracle-free. So many of the kind of disastrous hacks or different things in the sector will be normally linked to how things are priced. So a big class of, or category of risk is at that intersection of how is this thing valued against some type of exogenous or external thing through some type of Oracle mechanism. And so this design is Oracle free. There is no Oracle. The measurement is based on an intrinsic measurement that the system understands internally. So it doesn't have to look outside and have a translator that can then be manipulated or a bug. It is purely based on information that it has within the system, that is how much Bera is in the treasury. The only kind of externality is this notion of time. So it's kind of the 4.2 months, it measures itself in blocks, and blocks vary based on a number of factors external to the system, but roughly speaking. But again, this is just a version 1. The THJ team, we started as a Scrappy Anon team. We are still a Scrappy Anon team, but we've grown to become one of the biggest validators in the Bearer Chain network, one of the most profitable in terms of incentives distributed. We're kind of top ranked in terms of unique people boosting to us, and then we're kind of top ranked in terms of, or one of the top ranked in terms of amount of BGT boosted to us. So I bring this up not to kind of say, look at us, but more to say we're cypherpunks who understand these systems well. And so this is just a version 1. This is Gianni's intent. I don't want you to take it as a certainty because, nothing in this world is certain. But the intent is to make this even easier. So at the moment, this bearer is kind of just sat there in the treasury. In a version 2 or a version 3, we would like to help people make this productive in a way where it's even less risky in terms of, we want to even help people remove that time-based risk, in the sense that it would be possible to automate the process of, let's say, taking a loan, and then as you're approaching the term date, the kind of that 4.2 month, that we can build systems where what you owe is paid off, or it's kind of paid off, withdrawn, and then looped back in. So these are our intentions, and then we are actively looking for ways that we can hook this into the BGT system. We haven't figured that out yet within the parameters of the current approach for reward vaults. But if there is a team who can figure it out, it would be us. And so what you're really seeing here is just a tiny glimpse into the direction that we're heading with this thing. Because once you have collections like this kind of hooked into the primary production of a chain, as well as providing a, let's say, the foundations for revenue generating kind of economies tapped into this, then the potential, we haven't seen anything like this before. So I'm hesitant to make predictions. All I can say is this is our intention to keep directionally building in this way. And I don't think one of the reasons we've always been so bullish on building in Berachain is, you can't do this type of experimentation on other chains. Hooking into such a diverse array of, let's say, revenue sources that aren't, I don't know how to put it. I do understand I just have seen on Twitter, this, I haven't looked into them properly, Meow Finance, so they deserve a shout out because they've been doing some experimentation with their version of liquid backing, and by the sounds of it, they've used their mint funds to productively work them. I need to, so before I can properly attribute them, I've just seen that on the timeline, so I'll deep dive into it. So there is experimentation in this space around intrinsic value of NFTs and where it can be pushed. So it's an exciting moment. Beyond just the let's say enforced on-chain royalties, I think we're entering into a new phase of let's say NFT evolution, where there's more experimentation coming at more different angles.
Yeah. Yeah, you already said what I what I wanted to point out, because it's really important that this is not possible on any other chain. Because if you would consider in Ether or in Solana, you don't have the possibility to let that work in proof of liquidity. So there's no BGT, there's no bribes, and yeah. And what I really like about your approach is that you will find a solution to have one product for everything. So basically you can take out a loan. Let's say later on maybe there will be 5 bearers or 10 bearers. If you have multiple NFTs, you can take out multiple loans, and then you can let that work. And we know on Bearer chain you have very high yields, and yeah, basically your NFT is working for you, generating yield and passive income. So that's what you are planning to do in one product with that, as I recall, right, the set and forgetty. And you're trying to implement it also here so that people
exactly
don't.
So a version 2 would be something to the effect of course, people could choose their own adventure. They could withdraw the liquid backing and go off and run whatever their own strategy is. We'd like to make it so that people also they can click a button. It essentially then gets into the set and forgetty flow. If you don't know what set and forgetty is, it's set and forgetty on Twitter, or you can find it on the THJ website. And so that then essentially it automates the process of receiving BGT via some type of strategy, and then what you do with it, whether you want to sell the BGT for Mibera or whether you want to compound the BGT. It will then hook into delegate to the THJ validator. It's one of the top ones in the ecosystem. It's often running with some of the highest APYs. You then, having delegated to the THJ validator, will then receive a whole bundle of tokens from different protocols who are bribing you via the THJ validator. And then depending on which of the buttons you've clicked, whether you want to compound, whether you want to DCA, whether you want to stack Henlo or whatever it is, it will then automatically do that kind of epoch by epoch. And then what you start to leverage really is, one of the reasons for the crazy APYs is this notion of compounding. Like for those of you who haven't looked into exponential math or compounding, it's worthwhile just watching a small video on it, because that's really where a lot of these crazy numbers come from relative to the traditional financial system. And we just want to make that stuff just a click of a few buttons, and doing it from a user-centric perspective, where really we want people to, part of the philosophy of Mibera is come online to get offline. I could talk about that for a long time, but in essence, we want to move away from this model where you need to be chained to the timeline, where you need to be chained to clicking buttons on the internet. So you come online, you do those actions, and then you determine when you want to come back and maybe do something with your Mibera, or maybe you want to change the strategy, but it doesn't require you kind of chained to the feed, as it were. So that's kind of, we're getting more into some of the vision for some of these catchphrases within Mibera. They're actually drawing from a vision for how we can be on the internet and be in crypto in a different way. So you come online, but so that you can actually forget about it, chill out, and your Mibera is out there in the economy kind of doing shit, and you don't have to worry about that side of things.
Exactly, cool. And I have to point it out that this is a huge, huge innovation. So I haven't seen something like this before, and there's real revenue behind that. So we are always mocking about crypto that everything is fugazi, but here you have real revenue, so royalties and income from Honey Road. So that's amazing. Okay, online to get offline. Yes, I like that. You want to say something else, or should we move on to the trades, to the reveal phase 2?
This is just maybe I can. So a few of the businesses that we have coming down the pipeline. One, THJ, we, other than debt from Janny and deferred payment by contributors, we didn't have any external funding sources whilst building THJ through the bear market. We did do a raise for Henlo. That was the first time that we had external funding from angels, VCs, this type of thing. A lot of the power, the financial power of THJ happened through, I guess you could call it micropayments or small payments spread across large numbers of people, many of whom were, of course, speculating in different systems that would have been Ponzus that we created, such as the superset, set, strong set, or the infinitegrate system. And a lot of people would have been speculating on the bearer airdrop itself and this type of thing. And so these patterns for micropayments, I think, are the bread and butter and lifeblood of so many businesses. If you think about in real world economies, playing cards, collectibles, Beanie Babies, even moving over into the digital realm, if you look at the amount that people spend on stickers in Telegram and this type of thing, they're essentially micropayments. But when you aggregate them, the impact of them is quite massive. And so I think for us, there's always been a philosophy of this notion of TTD, things to do, and making it such that there are things to do and ways that people can directionally, financially express themselves whilst doing something, which isn't super expensive all the time. And so that's why we made the decision with the vending machine, the shadows, to make it 0.42 bearer. Is what we're noticing is people enjoy minting it and playing with this stuff because it's not kind of egregiously expensive, while some people do enjoy expensive stuff. The power of these kind of micropayment systems in an economy, I think you'll see it compounding over time as we add stuff to this. So I understand there's this kind of perspective, oh, number is small, that's not that interesting. But I think for those who are paying attention and they see directionally where this is headed, a lot of us are very excited because this is kind of what we got into crypto for, like these type of systems that allow coordination and benefit across a wide number of people without the high costs of, let's say, centralized coordination.
That's amazing. That reminds me of the early days. I haven't been there, but the early days of Noonsdao. It was also an experiment, worked out quite well, I think. And yeah, I hope this will work out too. It's very, very interesting and very innovative. So yeah, kudos to that, Jenny. Thank you. Should we change topic to the reveals?
You guys lead, sure.
I asked some people to show us their revealed ones. So I will change the tab. So let's see what you got here. Maybe you can say, I already told you, you weren't here, that we have 3 changes basically. We have the shadow. It's now not all the same, but we have some specified shadows, so they're not looking all the same. We have the background, which is now sharp. It's not blurred anymore. And we have the third one. We have here some chemicals. Where do you want to start? Jenny is muted.
Oh, I mean, so what's the number of that Mibera? Because if you another change has happened at the metadata level. If you click into it on the markets, you can now click into one of the Mibera and you'll see all of the different trait categories. Many of them are question marked out, but background and drug have revealed. Now, I have no idea how the Magic Eden or OpenSea Rarity automated systems will react to this stuff. So, you know, be cautious out there. No idea how their systems are going to interpret this stuff. Certainly, it hasn't come from our end. But the traits which are locked in. So, for example, in this one that you're looking at, that background and that drug are locked in. So at this point, you can figure out, okay, how rare is this background? How rare is this drug? But just remember that each reveal, a new trait or set of traits gets revealed, which could significantly shift the rarity parameters of your NFT. So I would consider, for the most part, unless you are getting a foreground NFT, of which there's only around 343 divided by 12, roughly speaking. So there's 12 different foreground backgrounds, as it were. And in total, there's 343, I think, across those 12. So that's one way you're like, okay, I can calculate how rare they are relative to the rest of the collection. But I would consider that at the moment, you're still in this moment of Lady Luck, Jester Universe, flying blind to a certain degree. That being said, for the true autists of you out there, you could start to determine what type of hair, what type of hat, if you were to compare your Mibera to the shadows in the vending machine. There are some hats that are pretty distinctive, and you can manually figure out how rare they are, because visually those aren't going to change unless you get swapped out for a 1-of-1, in which case that's kind of an upgrade. So there's, you know, we've given the crate diggers amongst us edge here, because, you know, it takes a special type of person to manually go through pattern recognition to figure out the patterns, rarities, and stuff manually without the assistance of a machine to do it. But that's possible for those people who have time. But yeah, I'll pause there and see if there's any questions in particular.
I got something to add to that real quick, Channy. So when you say the particular autist, you know, I love going through things like this and comparing the image that I can see in the outline of something to a rapid movement of other images. So if I just click on whatever layer I'm looking at, I can just toggle up or down with my arrows and I can scroll through those things really quick. And oddly enough, the faster you go through them, the shape is easier to find.
There's many approaches. many ways of playing the game.
Okay.
I get that sometimes. If I've just got a lot of raw data, sometimes I'm not actually focusing on it. I consume it more like a stream, and then at some point, so I'll be like, "Hang on, what?" And it will be something will jump out at me, let's say, and then you use a different type of vision, a different type of attention, presence to kind of figure out why did I have that moment? I just jumped. So I hear you then.
Okay, maybe we can look at some other ones. Do you want to touch on the background? So maybe some lore, some story. Here, someone asked why did you had a tweet, I think, after our reveal stream, that you want to collect, I think there was 4 or 5 different traits with the backgrounds. Why that? Maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm greedy is number one. I know they're rare. I said live on air they're rare, and then I wanted to collect 2 complete sets of the rare foregrounds. There's 12 of them, so each set is 12, and I wanted 2 of each. My thinking was that although I understand they won't be a 1 of 1, the game I'm playing is different. I'm a whale in relative terms, so I'm thinking ahead to I'm collecting, even if I've already got one, I'm collecting bargaining chips for if there's something then further down the line I really want, then I've got leverage by having some of these sets. And if I want a complete set, then I don't just want one of each of them. Some of them are tricky. I still only have one. And that's the kind of more the collector side of Janny. Using my position to that's why I didn't mind bidding it up also. There's a degree to which I don't have to worry too much about profit maximization with each individual trade itself, because I do believe in the long-term kind of up value of this of this work that we're all participating in. So I don't mind paying tomorrow's prices today for certain things. Is what it comes down to. I hope that answers the question. But yeah, there's 12 foregrounds, and those were the ones I was bidding hard, and then the left the rest I just left to chance.
You did that great with Steady Teddies too. So on the day 1, I think I went to sleep, and you swept all the 1 of 1s, basically for not for free, but I think you had a good entry with that. And basically after 2 hours, someone reached out to you, wanted to buy from you a specific one. So yeah. Great sniper.
Yeah, with Teddy's, it was the 1 of 1s. To name it, I will do the Mibera. I'm shameless on that front. There's ones that I want. I'm going to try and get them. But with Mibera, I set up those bid walls because I love this stuff, and yeah, I'm as well as being the creator, I'm a big collector. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Maybe you can touch on why. I mean, yeah, they are rare, but why specifically these jungle labs? And you had some labs. Oh, I think Osley lab was also one which you wanted to have. Why those? Have they a specific meaning to you, or have they a specific story, a lore, different to the others, or just because they are rare?
6% of the collection cycle. No, So let's go into the lore of the collection. So there's the principle of as above, so below is one of the guiding principles. Another is yin and yang, and so these kind of dynamic axes or dynamic tensions exist throughout the collection. So within the collection, what you have represented are drugs and molecules. As I've gone into before in other streams of you, we come from the philosophy that most drugs are synthesized from let's say, a root plant, something that grows naturally, often in the Amazon rainforest. And so in the collection, we have both the modern representation and the plant representation. In terms of so that will appear in the drugs corner. You'll see a full kind of, I believe it's 64 of these different drugs, and they cross both what we would call ancestor and modern. And then in terms of the backgrounds, we also have that kind of, let's say, the supply chain, to use a modern term. I don't think of it quite in that way, but all the way from the primary production. So we have a jungle lab, we have the rainforest, we have these different zones reflected in the collection, all the way through to like super labs. So we don't just have drugs represented as handheld items or as molecules. We also have each step of the production process represented in the collection as a kind of as above, so below mirroring of the real world into this domain. And so, as well as having kind of, let's say, LSD chefs who have been famous over time, Owsley is one example, Picard is another example, Shulgin, of course. We also wanted a reflection of, for example, the Jungle Lab. It's the where a whole bunch of the steps for stuff like cocaine is produced and then it's moved elsewhere, maybe stepped on, and this type of thing. So that's some of the underlying narrative and lore and story for this stuff. And each different background has a similar reason for being in the collection. You can think of this as a massive multiplayer online role-playing game that is an excavation of all of the weird intersections of internet culture. And we believe drugs is a part of that. But each different trait in the collection, whether it's a background, a handheld object, a drug, a hat, it has a story in and of itself. And this is what gives the, let's say, the Mandelbrot set, the fractal surface area of entry points for people. You'll notice on the timeline, for example, we said if you mint a shadow and share your lore on I Love You Day, so May 20. Thank you, Eileen, for reminding me of that bit of kind of internetism. We'll be giving a Mibera to people who share their lore. But what you more than anything, yes, that's a small little incentive system. But what you see when you read people's lore is everyone's got quite a unique entry point into this collection. Some people are coming more from the art side, but some people are using it as a proxy for being able to share some part of their personal lore. And I can say from Jani's perspective, with the number of DMs that Jani is in, where something about this whole Mibera thing has connected with people, we've touched something, a raw nerve, let's say. And the aspect which is connecting with people is different person by person. And I believe as we reveal trait by trait by trait, there will be these things which really jump out at people that they have a very strong visceral connection with. And this is the type of emotive, psychosocial landscape that compounds into very strong cultures, senses of belonging, tribalism, if you want to use that word, around collections, which gives them that strength. That's the retard core of like beyond everything else. I really care about this, and this, and yes, I'm here to buy some burgers, but I'm here also for more other things than that. And I think as we've seen people get washed out, I think we started up in the 6,000 plus. We then had a pre filter of folks where we removed clusters and some innocents. We started with 5,775 unique holders. Then over this, from the 420 cursed reveal, Janny Insanity, Baby Brutality, we've now arrived at the point where last night it was 4242. Again, all of these are very interesting numbers for like key marker points. It's one of the ways we're like, are we on the right path here? Let's look at a number. Okay, that number seems to indicate, you know, the Jester universe is happy with the way things are going. So I'd say we have something in the region of between 3,000 and 4,000 people around this thing, who, for whatever reason, strongly believe or care or are interested in doing things. And speaking from Janny's perspective, I've been here before in the sense that I see what that number of holders can achieve over time, because a lot of this game is really just a game of lasting longer than other people, being primed and ready to catch a bid when a bid comes, to keep putting stuff out that gives a reason for people to keep showing up. Sorry, that was a lot. We were talking about traits. I've now got back up on my soapbox, but I'm just trying to convey whichever of the traits that we click into, there's going to be a story there. There'll be a story that we've envisaged, but I have no doubt that there'll be a story out there amongst people who connect with that particular trait for reasons that we didn't know, we couldn't imagine.
Except for
Yeah,
maybe the
I love that.
FBI one.
You know, there's those amongst us. I have no doubt we've got some feds amongst us. You know what I mean?
I'm sure we have some, yeah. Maybe my 2 cents to that. We have our community and we have our podcasts in the community, and we've been here now for around 3 years. We've seen a lot of NFT projects, and 2 years ago we were asking ourselves, okay, which NFTs will make it? Will there be new ones? Will there be old ones? And if I had to guess back in the time, I would have said that there will be a lot of new ones, and the old guard like Bored Ape and Doodles and all this OG stuff will maybe disappear, and only the very good ones will stay. But what I now recon is that the opposite is happening, that the old OGs who managed to build a strong community like Azuki, like Bored Ape, Pudgy Penguins, they stayed. And this made me think about what makes an NFT collection successful. And we haven't seen in the last 2 years a thriving new community, which is sticky, which is in the community because they love their community and PFP. We've seen a lot of hyped NFTs, and people were jumping on and then jumping off. But yeah, maybe I'm biased, but I think Mibera has managed that capture these people, to attract these people who resonate with Mibera. And as you said, you manage that people get attached to their NFTs. And from an investing standpoint, maybe some people say, yeah, you shouldn't be attached to your investments, but these are NFTs. So yeah, maybe now you don't you don't spend a couple of thousands of dollars for an NFT. Now it's relatively cheap. I think it's a relatively good entry point here. And I can't look at them as an investment, even if they have this liquid backing stuff. For me, it's clearly like an art, and it has something new. It has this digital, social, spiritual connection, which we are now here coming together, 800 people are watching this stream, and we resonate with the Mibera lore. We have something common to share, and that's what spirituality is about, and that's what you manage to capture in this NFT collection. And I think that's very unique, and I think that's a basic component to be a successful collection. And on top of that, you have this liquid backing stuff. So I'm so happy to be here, and I think people are underestimating here what Mibera can do and what the honey jar can do. And I love the art, I love the culture, I love the vibe, I love the Berachain liquid backing stuff. So I'm very happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. I think even the fact, we're nearly 10 hours deep in calls with, of people from the community who've become subject matter experts over time in this thing before we've even had the full reveal. It's crazy that, for example, Steady Teddies, before their final reveal, they had 8,888 community-made memes. The space has never seen that type of shit before. This, it's just cool. In a different set of macro, different state of our sector, these would be collections that would just moon straight away. So there is some degree to which you're kind of constrained by the moment, but to take a step back also and to acknowledge, pay tribute to the inordinate amount, the extreme amounts of work, love, care, and dedication over long amounts of time into these things. The Steady Teddies and Mibera are unparalleled, to be honest with you. I would say in terms of recent collections, one that stands out is the Sproto Gremlins, of course. In terms of the community that they have, the lore, the egregore, the community formation, once you start speaking to people and see kind of in and where that came from. A small bit of trivia for you. The art for Sproto Gremlins was an AI generative art collection. They came initially over from Binance Smart Chain, and the artist for the Sproto Gremlins was inspired by the Neural Pepes. Is produced by our marketing lead, Fedor. So there's even in these different kind of the orbits, and you can see it, the artist of Sproto Gremlins, if you are in chats with them on Telegram, if you flick through their PFPs, if one of them is still a Neural Pepe. And so we understand, many of us, we've been here before, this isn't our first rodeo, of what it takes to actually be at the avant-garde, be right at the cutting edge, and to do it time and again, because there are certain approaches. It's not complicated. Once you see the pattern, this stuff is not complicated. I'll go into it sometime. But yeah, just to say that there probably are collections where people feel similarly to what we do around Mibera or Steady Teddy in other ecosystems, and they're burgeoning, and they maybe haven't reached escape velocity from different ecos and this different type of thing. But yeah, direction, broadly speaking, I do very much agree with you. To Janny's mind, it's kind of, I don't know, in terms of where people want to go with NFTs, just to be completely a numbers person about it, is to double your stack for an asset that is, let's say, $4,000. You need the price to rise to 8,000 before you get that 2x. Now, people, once something is already expensive, people are willing to spend more money on it, but there's maybe fewer number of people with that amount of cash to throw at something. So there's this question of, okay, it's easier for this thing to move if it's lower in price on paper, but then it's really a question of supply and demand dynamics. And I think what we're observing is we're noticing people who have their finger on the pulse, who haven't been, it's not their first time of catching collections early, coming in and building up 10, 15, 20, 30 Miberas, right? And there's a number of these people who I would call smart money starting to do this. And you only need a few hundred of those before, circulating supply or available supply in the market, you start getting somewhat of a supply crunch. And once you have these different elements in existence, that's when, once, let's say there's more oxygen in the room, people are more risk on and this type of thing, that you have a really explosive setup. And all we can do on our side is just day in, day out, leverage compounding, in the sense that we pay attention to the details. We ship as much as we humanly can each day, and we take each thing that we're working on. This is one of the reasons Gianni slightly delayed the quiz, is we could have put something out really flat, simple, and done, but maybe we can pivot into speaking about the quiz. There's 15 on-chain elements that we look at. Let me see if I can quickly pull them up. We're coming from the perspective that everyone has had their part to play, and this isn't a judgment zone. It's a moment for self-reflection for you. If you have a spirit that is a judgmental one and you judge yourself, then that's on you. But that's not the spirit we're bringing to this. We're simply facilitators of capturing a moment in time. And the space between the 420, April 20th, Easter Sunday, and the rebrand, the cursed reveal, Gianni's insanity, baby's brutality, the Milady's on Berachain, the secondary trading opened, the Discord got seized by the feds, the team and founder went radio silent. Like, how did you respond to those conditions of chaos? And it's a moment, it's an experience that we all went through from our different subject position. No judgment. We each brought to the table the bags that we were holding. And it's just a moment to acknowledge we had an experience together over that 4 days. And so there will be 7 questions that you can answer subjectively. There's not going to be any teacher or authority or daddy coming around and checking your answers. That's totally up to you how you respond. And then there's 15 on-chain data points that aren't subjective. Those are just binary. Like, did you or did you not? That's stuff, for example, like, were you holding a honeycomb at the time? Were you holding a bullet at the time? Were you holding a steady teddy at the time? Were you holding a Milady, for example? Maybe no to all of those things. Did you sell all of your Miladies on Berachain? Did you sell some of them? Did you sell low, buy high? Did you move all of your Miladies to a single wallet, like maybe the Scribe? So we've looked at each different action or thing that you can have on chain in that moment. And then there's 10 different archetypes that the system will let you know, okay, here is your primary archetype and here's your secondary archetype. And here is your unique fingerprint signature card that you can soulbound token. You can mint. There's no cost to it. And you'll also have badges for each of the on-chain actions. And then there's like an internal algorithmic kind of choice tree, which takes in all of your answers and it combines it with all of the on-chain elements. And so each person who receives one of those cards, it's a bit like a tarot card. It will be quite different in the sense of what's your primary archetype, what's your secondary archetype, what different badges. So again, it's a thing for people to do, share, compare. Depending on what your primary archetype is, you'll get access to a special zone in the forums that only people of that archetype are also in there. But maybe I'll pause there. Any question? It's if you feel trepidatious about it, that's okay. Like there's no wrong way of doing it. So as long as you pass through the process, then you can get access to the liquid backing. There's no wrong answers. I can tell you what the archetypes are if you want, but I'll pause there to see if you've got any questions so far.
Anyone a question? I'm excited about the archetypes. Someone asking, is there any knee job in the collection?
Yes.
Oh.
Check out the vending machine.
Yeah. Let me change. So here you have, is that at the body type? No.
Yeah, if you go to just click randomize and then we'll, and do you know what? I realized I don't know which categories it is in.
Hat.
That one, well, look how base that one is. Is it in hats, Eileen?
Make Bitcoin great again.
Yeah.
Okay, go to hats according to Eileen.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So some of the shirts are like, I guess they're a costume. So that means if you have a normal one and they have like a bear hoodie thingy, then it's not gonna be shown at this stage,
the shape.
right? The shape.
The Kigu.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? That's a good question because I've seen a few where I seem to be able to see the outline.
Oh my god.
But the hat is accurate because this one looks like
that looks like a Kigu to me.
But there are so many bear things too.
Yeah.
We could pull up the Kigu in the vending machine and compare them. You know what I mean? That's part of the fun of this little tool.
Yeah, if only the vending machine was easier to navigate.
Well, we can't make things too easy.
But that's not the hat, that's the mask, Kigu. Or where do I have to search?
Maybe what we can do is add a search button, and then it can highlight you which of the categories. I'm going to have to run soon. Do you want me to, whilst we're looking, do you want me to shout out the different archetypes?
Yeah. Go bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Okay. There's Anointer. There's Bound One. There's Phoenix. There's Serpent. There's Witness. There's Prodigal Son. There's Ouroboros. There's Centurion. There's Oracle. There's Doppel. Do you want me to tell you what each one means?
Maybe quick, yeah.
So Doppel is the trickster, the shifter. So this is someone who's a master of mirrors or mimetic masks, understands the self as code, rewrites it live, chaotic neutral with a taste for disruption as creation. So what you call identity, I call interface. There's the oracle, the seer, the hidden guide. So one who reads patterns before they form, communes in the shadows, speaks in riddles, truths encoded in whispers, holds the future gently and rarely directly. I don't predict, I remember forward. Then there's the centurion, the builder, the loyal force, wields clarity like a tool, shows up, executes, protects the line, rooted in ritual and code, faithful not to power, but to the craft. So if it must exist, I will shape it. Then there's the Ouroboros, the cycle keeper, the eternal return, knows nothing truly ends, brings order by looping chaos into ritual, guardian of the timelines, conservator of collapse and rebirth. All this has happened. All this will happen again. prodigal son, the heretic, the exile, was once all in, now questions everything, loud, sharp, sometimes right, burns bridges but still watches the fire, may yet return, or never left. Belief broke me, I broke back. Witness, the observer, the archive, watches without interfering, remembers without reward, holds silence, unseen influence, the custodian of unspoken truths. I do not speak often, but I never forget. There's the serpent, the initiator, the forbidden voice, brings the knowledge, destroys illusions with a hiss, the one who says the unsayable, knowing it cannot be unsaid. Wisdom is venom, drink carefully. And there's the phoenix, you send a Mibera into the void, you're going to be a phoenix, I'll tell you that much. So Phoenix, the flameborn, the returner, burns, dies, returns. Nothing is permanent, especially failure. The path is a series of radiant reboosts. Pain becomes flight. I leave ash so I remember how bright I was. Bound one, the burdened, the sacrifice. So holds what others avoid, cursed with care, endures not for glory, but because someone must. Hangs between timelines, half-willing martyr. I carry it because you wouldn't. And then lastly, the anointer, the crown giver, the signal booster. Blesses what should not be overlooked, names what is sacred, recognizes emerging myth and gives it shape. The one who makes legends real. I do not create, I recognize. And so each of you will come out of this Mibera alignment process with an archetype and a secondary archetype based on both your answers, but what you did on chain. And at the end, you get this quite, I'll be honest, magnificent representation of our time together in this early stage of Mibera.
How many are there now?
There's
The
10.
archetypes. 10. Okay.
Okay, so on Thursday, can we expect the time? Because we have our stream as usual at 4:20.
We'll release it on stream. Let's say it that way, and then maybe some of us can do it together. For those of us who are who are brave, I'll also do it. Maybe I'll send you. Hang on a sec. Save image. I'm going to send you an example of card to the group chat in Twitter.
Sorry. Meanwhile, taking a comment. So what I had said was that because the Kigu goes under shirts, and at this stage, only the body and the hat, yes or no hat, is can be seen. I believe that's correct.
So the description does indicate that, Eileen, but actually I'm seeing an edge case where I'm like, oh, I saw some Kigus in the shadow, and then it made me question how, practically speaking, we are rolling this out. So I need to go back and clarify, because I had also understood that Kigus would not show up till phase 8.8. So I need to figure out what's going on, and then I'll come back.
Yeah. Which stage are the shirts showing up? It's
The
5
shirts.
or
You are more on top of it than me. Reveal. Hang
on.
Clothes is phase 3.
Clothes and
body, arms, clothes, and hair.
Okay.
The next phase. So this will be on Thursday already.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But it does say, we did say Kigus and robes, items and masks appear in phase 8, which would infer there's some type of a rug. But I need to go and figure out, again, this is where we need to make sure the intended and given formula for how we want it to work, how does that relate to the reality of the smart contracts and the metadata reveal? So I need to go and do a deep dive at these edge cases, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, so I think what people want to know the most at this stage is if the whatever that's being shown is going to be the final shape, because
Ye-
well, obviously people are
So
trying to
far as
determine.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, with the caveat that it could get swapped for a one of one. Now, I had thought it's not until this moment where I'm like, oh, hang on, if that is the case, in phase 8, we've said Kigu's in robes, so what's the story there? So I need to go away and clarify, and then I'll post a tweet with the
Yeah.
clarification.
Because outside of the shirts, there are plenty of other clothing that's different from the actual regular shirt body silhouette.
Yes. Well, and actually, you can see going through the collection, there are already a lot of different shapes. Like I've never seen the full compiled collection. My laptop keeps blowing up every time I try to run out of storage space and haven't fit. I've had too many other things. I've decided to let this be the first time I'm seeing it, but I have seen the traits individually, so I'm familiar with their shape, and I can see a lot of different shapes in the shadows.
I think I see some colors, but it could also be part of a hair or an item, and that's kind of the problem because you can't really determine shit.
Yeah, that's partially by design. I mean, for example, I know that if someone has an afro, they're not going to have a hat because the afros don't go with hats.
Yeah.
So I understand some of the rules, and actually you can backwards engineer the rules. In the vending machine, we've got the safety on toggle, and you can just keep clicking dispense, and you'll start to see the pattern. But if you turn it off, you'll start to see stuff where it's clearly broken, and that's because or indeed you could do it more manually. You could, for example, have the safety on. You could select something and then just manually choose some different traits, and then the vending machine will tell you, it will shoot up a big red error and say this is outside of the rule set. So that's another way that you can figure out what's going on. I have to run, folks, but is there any final
There was a question from the last stream. Maybe I missed that and I didn't really realize. But have you mentioned something that so only on phase 8 we will know if we have a one of one? But are there some exceptions which can't be a one of one?
So exceptions that can't. Yes, the foregrounds.
Yeah.
The foregrounds. So that's 343 that cannot be a one of one.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Now, by one of one, I mean a grail here. So you can, of course, for example, in the handheld items, there are 10 floppy disks representing each of 10 really important cypherpunks. Each of those is a one of one. There's only one of each of those floppy disks. There is 101 bongbears from the OG first rebase collection. Each of those is a one of one. Those also appear, I believe, in phase 8 in the handheld items moment. So yeah, I guess it's also fair to say one of ones, whether they're grails or whether they are one of one masks or one of one handheld items. There's a lot of ways within this collection in which we have introduced sub collections, let's say, within the collection, but then there's also going to be some one of ones that is just the Jester universe algorithmically deciding I'm only going to put one of this trait in the collection, and that's not we haven't determined those. That's on a bell curve, so there'll be some percentage of the collection that's like that. But then there's some that we have told the generation engine, okay, there will only be one of each bongbear, for example. Okay. So yes, maybe on a final note, here is an example what you would see having gone through you will have connected your wallet. You will have answered your 7 questions. And in this particular instance, your primary is Ouroboros, your secondary is Phoenix. You can see the emoji associated with Ouroboros. It's this kind of balance, justice, law. It's often represented as the snakes eating their own tail. Acolyte is the esoteric name for the category for the number of Mibera that you hold in your wallet at the time. So we can see bottom left, number 8, this person who's been through the system has held 8 Miberas. And so that makes them an acolyte in terms of the esoteric tiers within the system. And then you see a little steady Teddy, you see some other symbols above 8 and proclaim. And those are your badges. Those are kind of like the on-chain signifiers. So you only receive those little badges, those symbols, if you meet the category, if you meet the requirements for each of those categories. So each person's card is going to be highly unique to them. Yes, you'll be one of 10 groups, but actually the particularities of your card will be quite different depending on your answers and your on-chain activity. And then you see this proclaim button is it easily share to X so that you can compare notes with the others.
That's very cool. I'm gonna mint that. Cool. Thank you, Jenny, for another show explaining us what you've
For
been
those of
building.
you who are sad about having been rugged, if this is your first time, sorry for your loss. We've got you. We'll get there in the end. Find the others. Many have been there before. It's coming. Trust the process.
Chaos is programmed. Okay, so thanks for coming, and we will continue on Thursday at the same time. And yeah, thanks for being here. Catch out next time, and have a good night. See you.
Welcome. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Anya. Thanks, Eileen, and everyone out there. Thank you too.
Thank you,
Dan.
guys.
Ladies,
See you next
ladies on
time.
Verichain.
My ladies on Verichain.
Miladies.
Miberas.
I will play some music for an outro.
Oh, wait.
So-
One question.
Yeah.
Can you ask him what number? So, based on Danny's explanation, so most of the stuff that's not the one-of-one items, he doesn't know because it's by randomness, and so probably more than one, I would assume. But if Jester Universe decides that this trait there's only going to be one, then that's what it's going to be, because there are a lot of traits and there are only 15 attributes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, are you hunting for a specific one?
No,
I'm just going to doom scroll now. I feel
honestly,
poor. I feel
you know,
poor.
Yeah.
I
Always.
think right now I just don't want to touch anything until May 20, because I feel like most of the bag fumbles I've had in crypto has been the fact that I went against
The process.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I'm just like real shit at trading, hunting, but there has been times in my life where I should have just kept the fucking thing, and it would have worked out. And I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but it's difficult if you want a specific trait. Like now, I'm getting like I starting to like the trait Hör Berlin, because I see it all over my timeline, and there are only 28 of them. So
Is that a background?
yeah, maybe let me show. and the floor is already 900. So I definitely won't buy one, but there are these developments, there are these already positioning themselves. Where were not rarity traits? So background, her Berlin.
Ah, the club with the tiles, with the white
Yeah.
tiles, yellow.
So where is that? Here, her Berlin. None of them are listed. So there was one for 900 and it's got delisted. So there is a dynamic already here. People are speculating. Look at Jungle Lab. we talked about Jungle Lab. Someone delisted it. So yeah.
But can you trade all those stuff already or not really?
So as I understood, these trades, the background is already determined, so that won't change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because people are placing like crazy bids on unrevealed trades, like speculating and stuff. And also,
Yeah.
I was looking at the Shadow Miberas. They go for like 7.5 Bera and same trades prices as the in the Mibera main Mibera thing, which I think is a complete speculation, kind of wild.
So look at this. We talked about the Kigu one. It was listed for 140. Someone bought it and listed it now for 619. So yeah. Activity.
The thing is, though, I think
144.
What's really difficult right now is like all the other attributes.
Yeah.
So if you look at all the other attributes, they're already saying like a very, very specific number of something. But then the logic is like, okay, how can there be, how can everyone, or rather under items, for example, how can there be the same item happening 900 times? Right? So then you like what the fuck is this item? Or is it a category of item, or is it a color?
Yeah, that's where I wouldn't speculate. I would either choose something which resonates with you, and maybe if it's affordable, then yeah, push the buy button. But now we have only the backgrounds fixed, and next time it will be very. We will have more revealed. That will be the third one. Body, arms, clothes, hair. So we will have a lot of things revealed here. So next Thursday will be a lot of action.
Yeah, it's volatility time. But I actually, one thing you did say just now, like something that you think that would matter to you. For me, it's actually numbers. I've been looking into palindrome numbers. Yeah, the actual token ID.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Numerology and yeah.
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 Like I'm trying to collect the reverse and the inverse. So for example, like
You shouldn't have told
5665.
this one.
Well, I mean, I've
You
begun
should
this.
have told it in the chat only. No, I'm joking.
I've begun this process with saying volatility is.
Oh, I found like a trade. I have mask 0.1% for 5,555 Bera.
Mask.
Crazy. People are wild.
Yeah, I'm poor. I'm definitely poor. Yeah, that looks good.
Kind of insane.
Need to make an offer here. Okay. So good. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for being here again. Thank you guys in the audience. Yeah, see you next time. See you on Thursday. at the same time. See you soon. Have a good time. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Brutality, conspiracy.